Your fear of rejection isn't protecting you. It's destroying you from the inside out. Every time you shrink yourself to avoid being turned away, you're not playing it safe. You're teaching your soul that it's not worth the risk of being seen. You're murdering your own potential before it even has a chance to breathe. If this feels like I'm reading the pages of your hidden diary, hit that subscribe button and tell me in the comments, what's the one thing you've been too afraid to ask for because you can't handle hearing no? I read every single comment, and your courage to share might be the permission someone else needs to finally speak their truth. Here's what nobody tells you about rejection. It's not the no that breaks you. It's the story you've been telling yourself long before you even asked. That story goes something like this. If they reject me, it proves I'm not enough. If they don't choose me, it confirms what I've always suspected, that I'm fundamentally flawed. That story is poison, and you've been drinking it for years. But listen to me carefully. That story is a lie, and it's a lie that's been running your life, making your decisions, and stealing your peace. It's been the invisible puppet master pulling your strings, keeping you small, keeping you quiet, keeping you hungry for approval that will never fill the void inside you. Alfred Adler understood something profound about human psychology. We create our own reality through the meanings we assign to events. When someone says no to you, that's just information. It's data. Nothing more, nothing less. But you turn that data into a verdict about your worth. You make their no mean you're not lovable, not valuable, not deserving. You take their limitations and make them your identity. The brutal truth is this. Your fear of rejection has turned you into a people pleaser, a permission seeker, a shadow of who you really are. You've become so terrified of hearing no that you've stopped asking for what you want. You've stopped showing up as yourself. You've stopped taking risks that could change your life because you're more committed to avoiding pain than creating joy. You're living half a life to avoid feeling half the pain. And here's the cruelest part. The more you avoid rejection, the more you reject yourself. Every time you don't speak up, don't apply for that job, don't tell someone how you feel, don't set that boundary, you're rejecting your own needs, your own dreams, your own voice. You're doing to yourself what you're so afraid others will do to you. You're your own worst enemy, disguised as your own protector. John Bowlby's attachment theory shows us that our early relationships shape how we see ourselves and others. If you grew up feeling like you had to earn love, like you had to be perfect to be accepted, then rejection feels like death. It feels like abandonment. It feels like proof that you were right to doubt yourself all along. Your wounded inner child is still running the show, still believing that rejection equals abandonment, still convinced that being chosen is the only way to be safe. But you weren't a child then, and you're not a child now. You don't need anyone's permission to exist. You don't need anyone's approval to have value. You don't need anyone's acceptance to be worthy of love. That scared little kid inside you doesn't get to make adult decisions anymore. It's time to fire them from that job. The person who rejects you isn't telling you anything about your worth. They're telling you about their preferences, their capacity, their situation, their limitations, their wounds, their fears, their inability to see what you offer. When someone says no to you, they're not saying you're not enough, they're saying you're not right for them, in that moment, for that thing, and that's information you needed. That's the universe saving you from the wrong fit. Carl Rogers taught us about unconditional positive regard, the idea that you can accept yourself completely, without conditions, without performance, without perfection. But you've been living with conditional self-regard. You've been treating your own love like a privilege you have to earn through other people's approval. You've been holding your own worth hostage, waiting for strangers to pay the ransom. Stop it. Stop making other people's opinions more important than your own truth. Stop giving strangers the power to determine your value. Stop treating rejection like evidence and start treating it like redirection. Stop making their inability to see you mean something about your visibility. Stop making their fear of commitment mean something about your worth of commitment. The people who are meant for you, in love, in friendship, in business, they won't reject the real you. They'll recognize you. They'll choose you not because you're perfect, but because you're authentic. They'll want you not because you've convinced them, but because you've been yourself. They'll see your flaws and call them human. They'll see your needs and call them valid. They'll see your dreams and call them beautiful. Nathaniel Branden said that self-esteem is the reputation you have with yourself. What reputation are you building when you hide, when you shrink, when you change yourself to avoid rejection? You're building a reputation of being unreliable to your own needs. You're teaching yourself that you can't trust your own worth. You're proving to yourself that you're not brave enough to be real. But here's what changes everything. When you stop fearing rejection, you start choosing connection, real connection, authentic connection. When you stop avoiding no, you start creating space for yes, a real yes, authentic yes, enthusiastic yes, from people who actually want what you're offering. When you stop begging for crumbs, you start demanding the full meal. The fear of rejection is really the fear of feeling your feelings. You're so afraid of the pain of hearing no that you've chosen the chronic pain of never asking. You've chosen the dull ache of regret over the sharp but temporary sting of rejection. You've chosen the slow death of playing it safe over the temporary discomfort of risking it all. But you know what's more painful than rejection? Knowing you never tried, knowing you played it safe, knowing you settled for less because you were too afraid to ask for more. Knowing you spent your life performing for people who were never your audience in the first place. Knowing you lived someone else's version of your life because you were too scared to live your own. Your fear of rejection is a prison, and you're both the prisoner and the guard. Every day you choose to stay locked up. Every day you choose safety over freedom, approval over authenticity, comfort over growth. Every day you choose the known hell over the unknown heaven. Every day you betray yourself to avoid being betrayed by others. But today can be different. Today you can decide that your fear of rejection has stolen enough from you. Today you can decide that your worth isn't negotiable, that your value isn't up for debate, that your right to ask for what you want isn't dependent on getting it. Today you can choose courage over comfort, truth over tactics, authenticity over approval. Start small. Ask for something you want. Set a boundary you need. Express an opinion you believe. Not because you're guaranteed a yes, but because you deserve to be heard. Not because rejection won't hurt, but because silence hurts more. Not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Not because you're ready, but because you're worthy. The right people, your people, they're waiting for the real you to show up. They're waiting for your authentic voice, your genuine needs, your honest desires, your real opinions, your true feelings, your actual dreams. They can't find you if you're hiding. They can't choose you if you're not really there. They can't love you if you're not being you. Stop rejecting yourself to avoid being rejected by others. Stop abandoning yourself to avoid being abandoned. Stop betraying your own needs to maintain relationships that require you to be someone else. Stop dimming your light to make others comfortable with their darkness. Stop shrinking to fit into spaces that were never meant for you. You are not too much. You are not too little. You are not too sensitive, too intense, too needy, too demanding, too anything. You are exactly what someone is looking for, but only if you're brave enough to be found. Only if you're willing to show up as yourself, with all your beautiful imperfections, with all your complex needs, with all your difficult truths. Your fear of rejection isn't keeping you safe. It's keeping you small. And you were never meant to be small. You were meant to take up space, to ask for what you want, to risk being told no in service of finding your yes. You were meant to be seen, heard, chosen, loved, exactly as you are. The person who's meant to love you won't reject you for being yourself. The job that's right for you won't reject you for showing up authentically. The life you're meant to live won't reject you for wanting it. The future you're meant to create won't reject you for dreaming it. Stop living in fear of rejection. Start living in service of connection. Stop avoiding pain. Start pursuing joy. Stop protecting yourself from hearing no. Start opening yourself to receiving yes. Stop hiding from rejection. Start healing from rejection. Your worth was never up for debate. It's time you stopped treating it like it was.